Hi everyone, let's solve this problem. This is 4 to the power of x multiplied by 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x equals 272. Okay, so how do we solve this? First of all, we can multiply what we have here to get 4 to the power of x plus x. Because if you pick one of the bases, you add the powers since we are multiplying, then plus 4 to the power of x. This is equal to 272. Now we have 4 to the power of 2x plus 4 to the power of x, now equal to 272. Now how do we solve this? We're going to change the position of the power here to get 4 to the power of x. Then we take the 2 out so that we can have the same thing common since we have 4 to the power of x over here. This is equal to 272. Then from here we can say let 4 to the power of x in this equation be equal to y, meaning that here we'll have y squared plus here we have y, and then that is equal to 272. Now we have a quadratic equation. Y squared plus y minus 272 is equal to 0. And then looking at this equation, it is obvious that we can factorize it because 272 is the same thing as 272 is the same as 17 times 16 or 16 multiplied by 17. Okay, the one that comes first does not matter. So we will now put this into this. Mind you, if we are going to pick 16 and 17, one of them should be negative since we have negative 272, right? So we're going to have minus 16 plus 17. That will give us positive 1, and multiplying them will give us negative 272. So we have y minus 16, y, okay, this is y squared, then plus 17y minus 272. Everything is equal to 0. So if we proceed, y is common to these two. Here we have y minus 16, right? We close that, plus here we have 17, the common factor, y remains here, minus 17 into 272 is 16. Then we equate to 0. Now y minus 16 is a common factor. Then y plus 17 is remaining in there, and this is equal to 0. So from here now, we can conclude that it's either y minus 16 is equal to 0 or y plus 17 is equal to 0. And this is what we call zero product rule, multiplying two terms or more than two terms to get 0. So either of them or one of the terms must be equal to 0. So that's what we are doing here. And then from here now, y is equal to 0 plus 16, or y is equal to 0 minus 17. So y from here will now be 16, and then from here y is minus 17. Therefore, our y is equal to 16 or minus 17. But remember that we're not looking for the value of y initially. We're solving for x. And at some point, we say that 4 to the power of x is equal to y. So now that y is 16 from here, we now have 4 to the power of x to be equal to 16 at this point. and that will mean that 4 to the power of x will be equal to 4 to the power of 2, because 16 is 4 to the power of 2, right? Okay, let's continue from here. Okay, since the bases are the same, the powers must be equal, right? So our x is equal to 2. Remember, we left out one of the values of one of the values of y, where we had y to be equal to negative 17. And then remember that y stands for 4 to the power of 2, and that is equal to negative 17, right? From here now, if you look at this very well, you'll discover that there's no real value of x that will give us minus 17. Okay, there's no real value of x that will give us minus 17, because if you make x to be 0, 4 to the power of 0 is 1, that is not minus 17. Okay, and if you make x to be negative, if you make x to be negative 1, that will be 4 to the power of negative 1, and it's the same as 1 over 4, which is equal to 0.25, right? So obviously, this value will be rejected. So the only solution now is x equals 2. And like we always do, let's verify. The equation is 4 to the power of x multiplied by 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x equals 272. Okay, so this is what we have. And now we have 4 squared multiplied by 4 squared plus 4 squared. Will this give us 272? Let's verify. 4 squared is 16 multiplied by 16, then plus this is also 16. Now 16 multiplied by 16 will give us 256. Now let's add 16 to that and see what we're going to have. 6 plus 6 is 12. 5 plus 1 plus 1, that is 7. And then we have 2 over here. And that is the 272 which we have, because the equation is 4 to the power of x times 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x equals 272. So we are very correct to say that our x is 2. Thank you for watching, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe so you can always have access to more of my videos. Thank you. And another thing, share this. Okay, let me write so that you can see. Share to your friends.